All right, Shalom. This is Harawan Ban Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem, Harakah Kodash, Ma'amath. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim, Nakwatim, and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. Hey, I just want to go into this topic that's on my spirit, and the title is going to be Supplanter. All right, Supplanter. This is the name or the meaning of the term Yaiquab or Jacob. All right. So this was our original name of our nation, of our forefather, whose name was changed to Israel or Yasha Allah, meaning he is a prince that has power with the Most High. So I want to get into this topic because uh, the nation of Israel is set up to take the place of Esau. All right, because right now Esau is ruling the world. Right now Esau is in their rulership. All right, Esau has been made the head, and we've been made the tail. But the Lord is going to remove them out of the way, and we're going to be put up above them. All right, we're going to be above them, and they're going to be below, very low. So let's get this real quick. This is Genesis 25:19, because you got a lot of people saying that Esau could make it. Esau going to be delivered with Jacob. And it's not true, because those are two separate blessings. Jacob has no part in Esau's blessing. All right. Just like Esau has no part in Jacob's blessing. All right. So this is Genesis 25:19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac. All right. So the blessing went from Abraham. The promise went from Abraham to Isaac. All right. Not Abraham to Ishmael. It went from Abraham to Isaac. All right. Sarah's only son, Isaac. And then from Isaac, the blessing went to Jacob. All right. Not to Esau. It says, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram, right? Syrian would be Aram or Aramean. And that's why if you read Deuteronomy 23:7, it says, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. But right there, if you look that word up, it says, thou shalt not abhor an Aramean. Why? Because those were our people that were living in the land of Haran, all right, during the time of Abraham. So the Lord was telling our people during the time of Moses, don't despise those people. Those are your descendants of your forefathers, even though they're living in the land of Aram amongst the Arameans, all right, the Syrians. So those are our people. The proof is Bethuel, Rebekah, right? This is the sister to Laban, right? Laban, the Syrian, see, but he was our people, Laban, but they called him a Syrian. But anyway, get to the point. 21. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren, and Yahweh entreated him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. All right, so she was barren, she couldn't have a child, but the Lord made a miracle happen and opened her womb so she could have a baby. And he heard Isaac's prayer. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. All right. So, you know, all right, because you have, just what the scriptures say, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And this earth is like a womb, you know, it's like the womb of a woman. But this earth is and now you have two nations still wrestling within her. All right, wrestling over that blessing, and and Jacob and Esau. Esau's ruling right now, and Jacob is the nation that's going to follow. We're going to pull them down through the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, our King Yahushai of the tribe of Judah, right? Children of Israel. And he's going to bless the hopeful elect to pull these nations down, man. He's going to throw down all their nations, all right, on the judgment day. All the thrones are going to be cast down. So, so we're still struggling, even though we're out of the womb of Rebecca and we're in the earth. We're still struggling, all right, fighting against each other. All right, you can even say we're trapped in this snare together. All right, and that's what the word Rebecca means, a snare. Um, but I'm gonna keep going. It says, verse 22, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? So these two babies that were wrestling in her belly, and she went to inquire of Yahweh, all right, because it still wasn't known which one was going to be born first, you know, and they were wrestling in the belly. Shit deep, man. And she said, and she went to inquire of Yahweh, verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb. So from these two babies, right, these individual children, two nations were going to come out of them, right? And that's what a lot of these people need, a lot of our people need to understand, that that's what this is about. Esau represents the end, the end, and Jacob represents the beginning. That's what we're waiting for. I don't care what you try to do to get it now, it ain't going to happen. We got to wait for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, for Yahweh to send Yahweh Shai, and he's going to bring down these nations, man, bring Esau out of their power seat. It's going to be a regime change on this earth. All right. So two nations are in thy womb, Jacob and Esau, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. It's with two completely different individuals, not just based on color, but the spirit as well. The scriptures say the spirit that is lifted up in him is not upright, and there's not been a more profane person than Esau. You know, and they'll have no soul. Everybody knows that. You know, with two different manner of people. Um, it says, shall be separated from thy bowels. And that's what a lot of people got to understand as well, that two different type of people and nations can be born out of one woman. It says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. So the children of Israel is stronger than the nation of Esau. And the elder shall serve the younger. So the first baby that comes out is going to serve the second baby that came out the womb. All right, because it was a custom at that time in Israel for the firstborn child to get all the blessings of the father, you know, all his estate. And so the secondborn would have to serve the firstborn. But the Lord flipped it around through prophecy right here. He was showing that he was going to do a miracle, and that the firstborn, the elder child, was going to serve the younger child. All right, so let's see what that firstborn child is. It says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, usually about 9 or 10 months, all right, according to the Apocrypha, behold, there were twins in her womb. All right, so they were twins. No, they didn't have to look alike to be twins. They have different forms of twins. Like, for instance, my biological brothers in this life, one was born in June, and then the next year on the same day, my other brother was born in June on the same day, but it was a year apart. But they're still considered twins. So there's different forms of twins. Okay, and these were twins because they were born out of the same womb. I mean, in the same moment. Okay, so but they look completely opposite. So yep, because it was two babies in her womb, and the first came out red. All right, so he came out red, man, looking like blood, or translucent. You can see the blood through his skin. Had no carbon in his skin. He said he was red all over like a hairy garment. That doesn't mean that the baby was hairy, even though Esau is hairy as hell. Um, that's not what it meant. What it means is at that time we used to dye certain garments in badger skins of fur and red dye. All right, crimson red, and they were saying he came out all red all over, just like those red garments. All right, those hairy garments, and they called his name Esau, man, meaning wasted away is he. He had no pigmentation, and after that came his brother out. So that let you know um, the rulership that was going to happen in the earth. That Esau was going to rule first, this red nation, and Jacob was going to rule following. It says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. All right, so that represents what? Scriptures say, by the hand of my people Israel, he's going to what? Bring them to their place. All right, they're going to be brought down. It's going to start with Yahushua. Yahushua is going to bring them down, and give and raise up his elect men to bring down Esau. All right, his name was called Jacob. Okay, so this child, his name was called Jacob, but his hand took hold of the heel of Esau. Let's see why. Click on Jacob, go to Hebrew, and it says what? The word Jacob would be what? Yaquab. All right, and it means heel catcher, um, supplanter. All right, supplanter. So let's see what supplanter means. All right, this is the word supplant, and it's a verb, which is an action that's going to happen. All right, and it means what? To trip up, just like a lion would trip somebody up. So the Lord gonna use us to trip them up, to overthrow, defeat, dispossess. All right, supplanter, to trip up, overthrow, usurp. So we're gonna usurp them, man. Let's get this real quick. It says right here, to take the place or move into the position of. All right. So the Lord's going to remove them, and we're going to be moved into their position, of rulership on this earth. So it says, it means to supersede, which is also a verb. All right. It says, to desist, to delay, to sit on top of. So we're going to be put on top, and they're going to be put on the bottom. It says to stay clear of, to super above, super above. We're going to be put very high, and they're going to be put very low. Meaning displace, replace. So we're gonna replace them. All right, as the rulers of this earth, to take the place or move into the position of. you know. So I saw one earlier on Google. It said to move into the position or to replace one that is in authority. And Esau is in authority right now over the earth. All right, this is Deuteronomy 28:1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that Yahweh thy power will set thee above all nations of the earth, right? And that's what, when the laws were given to Moses and Aaron, and they told us, hey, if we would keep his commandments, he would set us above all nations, all right? And all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power. So that's what's about to happen now, because he set up a way for us to be able to hearken unto his voice. Was his voice the prophets? Was his voice Yahweh Shai? All right, the spirit of truth. Now, and he's going to put his commandments in the hopeful elect's body, their new bodies. So through that, what the blessings are going to overcome and overtake you, man. Think about that. Just like death, or just like the curses would, the Lord said his blessings are going to come on thee and overtake you. You know, that's what times we in. All right. Uh, and it says this: the Lord shall cause thine enemies to rise up against thee, that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. All right. So, and that's what's going to happen as well. Um, let me get this real quick. Uh, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou, it will come to, and it has come to pass, man. All right, we went into slavery. He says, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. All right, and that happened. You know, so all right, so Deuteronomy 28:43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. And that's what Esau, according to the book of Obadiah, they've been exalted as high as the eagle. And thou shalt come down very low. All right, we've been oppressed so low that we became a byword proverb amongst the nation, even 3/5 of a man, of a human being. 44. He shall lend to thee, right? Esau became the loaner, the bankers, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. So the Lord made us the bottom and them the top. But he said, what? It's going to be, we're going to supplant them, all right, through Yahweh Shai. Uh, now, it says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee until thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. All right, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. You know. All right, Genesis 25 and uh I'll start from 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. See, that makes more sense now, right? And if we read 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 7, which I'm probably getting to as well. And his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 60 years old when she bare him. All right. So he was Isaac was 60 years old when Jacob was born. I think he was 40 years old when Esau was born. So it was 20 years apart. I think, if I'm not mistaken. No. They were both in the womb. Okay, so like it. So he was 60 years old when they had these children. Put it like that. All right. There you go. Yeah. So when he took her, when he finally met her, Isaac was 40 years old. And when he had both of the children, he was 60 years old. All right. Where was that? Verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. So Esau is the hunter. They're the ones out in the field, hunting around the world, coming up with war tactics that we can't even imagine. All right. They're the hunter. And the scriptures say we want to be delivered from the snare of the prowler. The prowler is the bird hunter that sets traps for snares for birds. And Israel is that speckled bird that's hoping to be delivered. A man of the field, all right, they're always out in the world, neither keepeth at home. And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents, man. All right. And Isaac loved Esau uh, because he did eat his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. All right. So Rebecca chose Jacob. She said, that's the one. He's the one the blessing's going to come through. Just like Sarah, she chose uh, Isaac. She said, yeah, Isaac's the one. They just knew it. And Esau said to Jacob, well, and Jacob sod pottage. So he was cooking some pottage, boiling some pottage. And Esau came from the field and he was very faint. All right. So it shows you when Esau became impoverished, the spirit that they're going to be in, they'll kill, rob, steal, kill, and destroy. And even serve the devil, well, the spiritual demon Satan. And they've proven that. They're the pagans. And when they became impoverished in the land of Edom around the 8th century BC, they by the Nabateans, they that's when you know, Esau went out to steal all the resources from the world, especially during the time of the Herodians. And the scriptures say that whereas Esau says they are impoverished and they want to go and rebuild the desolate places. They want to build up their land. They want to build up their culture. And that's what Herod was hoping to do. All right. And that's what they've been doing ever since, building up their nation around the world. What they call white power, white supremacy, but really Edomite supremacy. But now it's going to be Israelite supremacy. All right. So Esau was faint. So imagine that, spiritually speaking, with them being faint as a nation, impoverished. All right. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee. And that happened in the 8th century where with King Jehoshaphat, where Esau made a covenant with Jacob, or a peace agreement. So they can and they lived on the southern borders of Judah because they were impoverished and we used to feed them and take care of them. And they used to join up with us in war against the Assyrians. But then, next thing you know, around 586 BC, they broke that covenant and they joined up with the Assyrian Nebuchadnezzar and they burned down our temple. And since then, they've been on it. All right. So, so now let's get back to the story. Esau was faint, right? And he said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Some people say it was raw meat, venison, and also red lentils, you know. Therefore was his name called Edom, meaning he was red. You look at Trump, man, he's straight up red. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. See, Jacob was set up to supplant him. All right, trip him up. See, the birthright was everything to Jacob. It was nothing to Esau. And this was the defining moment for Esau, just like with Cain and Abel. The Lord told Cain, he said, yo, if you do well, don't you think I will accept your blessing? I mean, your offering? Abel offered lamb and Cain offered vegetables. All right. So Esau can't get it right, man. They have no uh they saw they have no place of repentance, though they sought it carefully with tears, and they are the wicked. The scriptures say they are the border of wickedness, the father of lies. All right. So it says, verse 31, and Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. See, Jacob had faith. These were two different manner of people. 32. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall the birthright do to me? Basically saying, what is the he didn't believe in spiritual things, he believed in carnal things. You know, he had no faith. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. And since then, Esau has been mad at us and hated us because he sold his birthright. And later on, and Isaac blessed Jacob to rule over Esau. And ever since, Esau had that hatred in him now. He already had the greed and that seeking of resources and wealth and power. And now he had hatred towards us. All right. So this was all being established at that time. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils. And he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. All right. So they can't be mad at us because they despise their birthright. So Esau has no way to be delivered. No way to have a place in the coming kingdom. They have to be at the bottom. That's why the scriptures say the rich man shall lift up his eyes in hell. All right. So uh so they despise their birthright. Really, Esau was despising Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai by doing that. So that was a personal thing between the nation of Edom and the Lord. He said that's a nation that he'll hate forever, man. And in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, it says Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as a place of future judgments. And they was the only nation that was promised no mercy. All right, this is Luke 10 and 18. It says, and he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning falling from heaven, man. So that's what's going to happen. Satan represents what? The adversaries. Who's our adversary? Esau. That's the enemy. All right, two nations are in our womb. They were wrestling, fighting against each other. And he says, what? It's a spiritual battle. Uh, they're gonna fall quickly, like lightning. All right, they're gonna fall from that exalted level that they're on right now. This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 56. As for the other people which also come of Adam. All right, I'm gonna read from here. 6 and 54. And after these, Adam, also whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Right? What people did he choose? All right. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art an holy people, a chosen people, right? A separated people, unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. The Lord thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. All right. But the Lord said he was going to put us beneath these nations, you know, because we wouldn't listen. But Ezra was asking the same question. He said, 2nd Ezra 6 and Well, it was asking this question right here. 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. So this world that we fighting over, that Esau's fighting and robbing, stealing, and killing over, he made all this for us to inherit. And it's about the end of a thing, not the beginning. You know, and in Revelation it speaks about New Jerusalem coming down from heaven as a bride adorned for her husband, for Yahushua. As for the other people which also come of Adam, right? We all come out of Adam, and mainly through Noah, all right, Ham, Japheth, and Shem, that stemmed out of Adam. Thou hast said that they are nothing. The Lord said all these nations are nothing to him, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. And now, O Yahweh, so when they fall, it's gonna be like nothing to him, man. And now, O Yahweh, behold, these heathen, Esau, which have ever been reputed as nothing, and at that time, during the time of Ezra, it was the Persians and the Medes, but now it's Esau, all right? These heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us, and to devour us, man. All right, and it's definitely Esau is a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour, and they're the ambassador of the heathen. All right, the worst of the worst. But we, thy people, whom thou hast chosen, called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? All right, I'm gonna read this real quick, man. You know the prophecy of Daniel chapter 2 is already happening with the Brexit and the separation of the European Union and NATO, all right, from America, and amongst the Brexit, the Nexit, whatever you call it. All right, so verse 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. So this kingdom that Esau set up and fighting over is going to be divided. And but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, the strength of Rome. That's what they still have, that uh, Edomite and white supremacy mindset. All right, and they still had that financial backing, and freedom to travel amongst those nations, even though they're divided as far as this European Union. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part. All right, so I'm gonna skip down to get to the point. Verse 44. And in the days of these kings, see, in these times right now, where all these nations are going against each other, and the ten horns, the European Union, and the NATO, and America all exist, and they're being divided, Satan against Satan. The Lord is saying this. And in the days of these kings shall Yahweh, the God of heaven, set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. All right, that's why we don't possess an inheritance with the heathen. We don't possess the world with the heathens, man, because that's not our blessing. Our blessing is through the supplanter, Jacob or Israel, who's set up to take the kingdom. All right. Um, and in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom. So he's setting us up spiritually first. All right, through this word. That goes with Amos chapter 9, which shall never be destroyed, man. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. All right, this is Deuteronomy 7 and 17, 16. And I came near unto one of them that stood by and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, see, four kingdoms. the Assyrian Empire that blended in, became the Babylonian Empire. Then you had the Medo-Persian Empire. Then you had the Greek Empire. Then you had the Roman Empire, which is still around today. Revised Roman Empire as America, European Union, and NATO. All right. The European Union was originally called what? The Treaty of Rome. So, and anyway, these great beasts, which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth, and they have risen up out of the earth very high, and we've been brought down low. But now check this out. But the saints, who's the saints? The elect of the Lord. All right, the elect. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. This is 2 Ezra 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? All right, Esau's rulership and their blessing, and when are we going to get our blessing? You know, when are we going to be able to supplant them according to our title? But the Lord said, yo, we're called Israel now, Yasha Allah, princes of the power, you know. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Man, the beginning of our kingdom, right? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, so that's the focus, when Jacob and Esau were born. See, the Lord was telling us that's the point to focus on. When Jacob and Esau were born, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. All right, that represented right at the end of Esau's kingdom, according to Daniel chapter 2, when they divided and they separated and the systems are failing and all over the place. That's when the Lord is going to bring them down, and he's going to raise up his elect men of Yasha Allah right in the midst of all these nations. He's raising us up spiritually through edification, raising us up from amongst the dead, according to Ezekiel 37. All right, exceeding great army that had the spirit of life within them, spirit of truth. And someday he's going to raise us up, according to Psalms 91, exalt us, Yahweh Ratazah, in that number, to be exalted high above all nations. All right, to where their ceiling will be our basement. It won't even be our floor, it'll be our basement. But it'll be their ceiling, if you get my point. 2 Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question Ezra asked thou not. All right. So that's the sign to look for, that the blessings are going to be manifested. That Esau is going to be ruling, but it had to be explained that they were the mystery of iniquity that already do exist when Yahweh Shai was on the scene, and today they're being revealed. And now that they're being revealed, the blessings are going to be manifested, and the blessing for Jacob is being brought into fruition, man. All right, it's going to be a regime change. It says the word supplanter means to take the place of one that is in authority. So we're going to become the authorities. We're going to become the head and not the tail. All right, so it's going to be time to get our blessing. All right, this is Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator, adulterer, all right, pagan devil worshiper, or profane person as Esau, man, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. See that? So the Lord ain't let go of that, man. The Lord's still mad about that. He's like, yo, for one morsel of meat, you sold your birthright? See that? Still hanging over their head. They were still talking about it in the New Testament. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, man, who for one morsel of meat just sold his birthright like it was nothing. Sold his soul, man, to the devil. You know, not saying Jacob was the devil, but I'm saying he sold his soul uh for vanity. Right? He sold his birthright. So they have no place in the coming kingdom, man, and salvation. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, see, during in the book of Genesis with Isaac, when he was giving out the blessings, he would have inherited the blessing, but what? He was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears, man. So let's get to that real quick, the birthright. And afterward, when he was rejected, all right? So though he sought it carefully with tears, man. And today, this is going to be manifested to where they're going to be rejected. It's already shown that they're the rejected nation because they're in rulership and they have no light in them. They have no righteousness. You know, they have a lot of blood on their hands. All right, I'm not going to read this whole story, but if you read it, Esau was sent out to go gather some venison or whatever. And then Rebecca set it up to where Jacob took the venison and put on a hairy garment so he can feel hairy like Esau, and he carried it to Isaac. Now, Isaac couldn't see; he was old in age and he was losing his sight. So he felt the hair and he thought it was and smelled him. He said, "There's my son Esau," because Esau stank. He smelled like the field and shit. This is true. Now he said, and then Jacob was basically supplanting Esau right there because Isaac, if you understand, he was Yahushua in the spirit giving out the blessing, and he blessed Jacob right there. All right. And this is the blessing that he gave because, mind you, remember he said afterward Esau was rejected because he sold his birthright. That's why this happened. All right. So when it came time for the blessing, the Lord was like, nah, nah, nah. He ain't going to get blessed. All right. 24. Uh, well, I'll start from here. Just get to the point. 21. And Isaac said unto Jacob, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he said, Art thou my son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. It's deep, man. His soul blessed him. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine and drink, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Yahweh hath blessed. Therefore Yahweh give thee of the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. Let people see this is the blessing that was given. Was supposed to have been given to the firstborn, but instead the blessing was given to the secondborn, according to the spirit. It was given to Jacob, the supplanter. All right, so this is about to happen. So people are going to serve us. Nations are going to bow down to us. All right, we're going to be lords over all the other nations. And let thy mother's sons bow down to thee, man. Who is that? Esau. Who was our mother at that time? Rebecca. All right, cursed be every one that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee, man. So any nation that came against us, all hell gonna be brought on them. And then basically every nation has come against us. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, as soon as he had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. Wow. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may be blessed. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? That's spiritual, man. The Lord gonna say to Esau, Yo, I don't know you. And he said, right, because he's seeking repentance with tears. And thy son, he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that have taken venison and brought it to me? And I have eaten of it all before thou camest, and have blessed him, yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and have taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he have supplanted me these 2 times. There's going to be a third time they're going to be supplanted. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he have taken away my blessing. And that you know, um, and that goes perfectly with Hebrews chapter 12, what I just read. All right, where it says afterwards he was rejected, but after he sold his birthright, and he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. Whew, so that's about to happen, man. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? So the Lord gave him something. He gave him rulership over the world. They ruled the world through robbing, stealing, and killing. But they're going to lose it. It says, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. Basically saying everything that's on the earth, they're going to be able to take and pillage. And by thy sword shalt thou live. See, by the sword, by war. That goes with Habakkuk chapter 2. They enlarge their desires as hell. And they're not satisfied because they're trying to get that blessing. You know, they think they got the right to it. And shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So King David put clamps and garrisons, and, set up Esau into an oppressive state when we were ruling, you know. But then around the 8th century, I think 842 BC, if I'm not mistaken, or 850 BC, I had to look at it. Um, that's when Esau revolted from under the hand of Jacob, all right, from under the hand of Israel. All right. Uh, where was I at? So when they revolted from under us, uh, that's when that prophecy came to pass. Genesis 27 and 40. I've done lessons on it before. I think it was 842 BC. All right, during the time of Ahaz, if I'm not mistaken. All right, they revolted. Matter of fact, we get that. All right, this is 2 Kings 8 and 16. Yep, this is during the time of the prophet Joram, or the king Joram. All right, and in the 5th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, so he was the son of Ahab, king of Israel. Jehoshaphat being then king of Judah, like the 8th century, like I was saying. Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, began to reign. There 30 and 2 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, and did as did the house of Ahab, for the daughter of Ahab was his wife. Wow. And he did evil in the sight of Yahweh. All right, because anyway, Ahab was following those idols at the Jezebel, the Syrian, and his daughter was doing the same thing, and she got the kings to do it as well. Verse 19. Yet Yahweh would not destroy Judah for David, his servant's sake, right? Because it had Jehoshaphat was going off being wicked, and he promised him to give him always a light, and to his children. Wow, he did that through Yahweh. In his days, during the time of Joram, I think Jehoshaphat was um, a righteous king, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. But I could do a lesson on it. But anyway, verse 20. In, in his days, so in the days of Jehoram, Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah and made a king over themselves. All right. All right. So Genesis 27 and 40, he said, by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. So they served under King David. All right. King David had them in subjection. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion. So when they started coming up out of Edom and out of the caves and going around the world to conquer it through their deception, and piggybacking off of these other nations that were coming against us, it says what? That thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And that's what they did. They broke the yoke that we had on them. They broke it off their neck, and they set kings over themselves during the time of King Jehoram. All right. Verse 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, so in his spirit, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And since then, it's been in their spirit to slay us. And their hatred it's going to bring shame to them when the Lord shows up. That's what it says in Obadiah. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. All right. Verse 42. And these words of Esau, her eldest son, were told to Rebekah, and she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doeth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. So it's in their spirit to destroy our nation, man. And they don't even know why. But they know as long as we exist, we're the dominant nation. Esau has a recessive gene. So over time, they naturally would fade out anyway. All right. But according to the promise, according to the blessing, the birthright, uh, Israel is about to get lifted up. This is Revelations 2 and 9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. All right. Revelation 3 and 9. Behold, I will make them. So the Lord is making them and creating them, and make them of the synagogue of Satan. So that's Esau, they're the synagogue of Satan. which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. All right. So the Lord said, what? He's going to make all these nations come and worship before our feet. All right. Because that's part of the blessing and the birthright. So with that, I'm going to say, Shalom.